I was reading the backstory about you, Terrence, and it broke my heart because it says that your mom, when you were a little boy, would pay kids to try to beat you up. And I say try because nobody ever did. She would pay them $10 to beat you up. She would never hug you. She would never say, I love you. She would never encourage you. This was all part of the way to make you tougher. Did that work for you? And how did you feel as a little kid?
Hey, y'all, professional student back again. So before we start, remember to like, comment, and share this video. You need to share this video. All right, so I know I promised you part 2 of the young black girls and their identity development. It is coming right behind this one, all right? Something happened that I had to address right away while it was fresh. So stick around and we're gonna talk about it, all right? All right, so anyone who knows me in the real world and not on YouTube knows I love boxing, right? I have an extreme love for boxing. And recently they had a match, a historic match between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, Terrence Crawford, he won that match, and rightly so. He's now on a humongous press tour. He was on CBS in the morning. So what stuck out to me in that interview was a couple things. First thing is, why would they choose to focus on this man's traumatic past instead of making the interview about the historic achievement he accomplished that night by dominating Errol Spence Jr. in their boxing match? I just don't understand it. They don't do that to any other people. But it was a very telling interview to me. It was very interesting and made me think about a video I did previously where I was talking about the way black parents punish their children. And in that video, of course, I did bring up its connection to slavery, right? In this interview, Terrence Crawford is asked about his mother promised any child who could beat up her son Terrence would get $10 from her. So she was bribing the youth in the neighborhood to beat up her son because he was giving so much trouble. She wanted somebody to be able to beat up her son so she could say, I told you, you ain't nothing. I told you. But being the genetic anomaly that he is, no one could do it. He was able to defeat all of his opponents that his mother inflicted upon him. Now, can you imagine that?
Kid.
Well, my mom, you know, she deal with different traumas and
in her life.
Yeah, things in her life. So that would led her to be that way that she is. You know, I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy, and to hear the things that my mom used to say to me, and it's me, I'm gonna prove her wrong. You know, my mom said I can't do this. I'm gonna go do it anyway because she don't believe in it.
She said I can't. Yeah. But did it make you angry?
Of course.
It did.
He even says it when they asked him. He even said it made him angry, made him upset, made him sad, because this is the woman who is supposed to be his protector, right? Your mother. As he said, the woman who birthed him is the one who's bringing this pain and this anguish down on him. How do you as a young person deal with that? I wonder.
It just made me more hungry.
More hungry?
You know, hungry. Like, man, my mom going against me, I'm gonna prove her wrong. I feed off of the non-believers. I feed off of the people that say I can't do something when.
The person who you believe that everyone tells you should be the one who's your protector, the one who's gonna show you love, right? Hugs and kisses from your mother. And he even says she never did that. Yet she found time to not only request children to beat up her son, but was going to now reward them with money for doing it. So how does a child deal with that disconnect? The mother who's supposed to love me is the one who is trying to hurt me. Well, most children, when they're faced with things that they don't know how to articulate verbally, right? Because most children of that age are not sophisticated enough, most times, more often than not, are not able to articulate themselves verbally to describe what is going on inside of their head, right? So what do? Most times they act out. They will act out physically. They might harm their peers. If you have siblings, they may harm their siblings. That's how they act it out, right? And so guess what also too? Our superego, or our so-called moral compass, well, that part of our psyche that allows us to know or discern wrong from right, most of that is coming from the home environments. But the mother doesn't know any better. All she knows is the plantation ideation that she was shown and taught when she was young. Because as he says in the interview, she had her own traumas that she was dealing with, right? But we as parents have to do better. And Dr. Amos Wilson also says that a lot of times Black parents, when they're raising their children, it's very reactionary based on them trying to fit their Black children into white society. So they're trying to stamp down their individuality. You can't express who you are. You can't express what you feel. You can't do what you want. You have to do what I say, and there's no other way. It's my way or the highway, right? We've probably all heard that. People will say, oh, well, he's a millionaire. He's successful. He's rich. He's famous. Yet,
I still deal with childhood trauma from those moments.
Almost 40 years old and still agonizing over that, even with all his millions. So we have to wonder, what is real success in raising a child? Is it them growing up and making all that money? Or is it them growing up with a sound mind and passing that down to their children as well? Shouldn't their happiness and mental soundness be our first priority, and everything comes after that? Better yet, can we do both at the same time? Because if that young man had the capacity to transmute that abuse into becoming a 2-time undisputed champion and a millionaire, who knows what he could have done outside of the ring? That's a very dangerous sport to be involved in. I don't think anybody would want their child to do that rather than doing a much safer job. But I'm gonna let y'all think about that one. Let me say it this way. What was done wrong to you as a child? And do you see yourself doing the same thing with your children now? Do you see yourself defaulting to the same parental mistakes that were done to you? Think about it. Let me know down in the comments. And let's try to shift those paradigms.
What would be your advice to those kids that might be growing up in a similar circumstance as you?
I don't know, it's kind of hard because every kid is different.
Right.
You know, my children is way different than the way I was brought up. My dad left when I was 1 year old. He was in the Navy. He'd come in and leave, so he really wasn't there.
You seem more active, so I'm loving and caring with your.
I'm there. I'm there for everything. You know, no matter what's the situation or circumstances. If I'm in training camp and my kid have a birthday or they have an event, I'm leaving training camp to be with my kids, because those moments only last one time.
For sure.
And they're gonna remember that, and they're gonna always remember, and they're gonna always be able to say, no matter what my dad was doing, he was always there.
Trying new strategies. Let's find new strategies to uplift our children, to empower our children, and to release them into the world being the confident, caring, and mentally secure people that I know we can do. So I'ma see y'all in the next one. Peace, y'all.